What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a new video. If you are new around here, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. So, last night we had some primaries. A lot of them, actually. We had some in Kansas, Michigan, Missouri, Washington, and that was about it for last night. So, kind of a small election night, but nonetheless a rather important one. We're going to take a look at some of these races. There's not much that really happened in Kansas other than the fact that Derek Schmidt ended up winning the Republican primary by a wide margin. I'm glad that he did. That's going to be an upgrade over the outgoing representative. This is an open seat anyway, so that's a good thing. And if you look at the state legislature, there was a House district around here. We're going to discuss a Democrat district. It was, I think, 35. Correct me if oh yeah, it is 35. HD 35, a very conservative Democrat, a Democrat that voted to pass the gender affirmative surgery ban into law and overriding the governor's veto. He lost last night by 27 points. Now, am I surprised? No. Am I a little sad? Yes, but we gotta continue. We gotta keep these people going. We have to get better people in the state houses on the Republican side. Other than that, nothing real interesting happened in the Senate, other than we saw more and more rhinos continue to lose statewide, or not statewide, but in state Senate and state House district, which we will see and when we reach Missouri. But anyways, we got the Michigan primary results, and Slotkin won. I don't really think that was any surprise there. I wasn't surprised the slightest. But I kind of expected Justin Amash to do a little bit better than he did. I mean, he got 15% of the vote. No, I did not think he was going to win, but I expected him to get like 20-25%. Amash is definitely the more conservative of the two, but Mike Rogers, he's the nominee. He's got my support, and we're going to hope he wins because we got to keep that continuing. And there wasn't really any real important races going on here other than the 8th district. So this is a district that we almost flipped. This is Slotkin's seat. This is one that we almost flipped in 2022. We came really close, and this time I think we're going to get it done. I don't think it's going to happen overnight, but I definitely think it's within reach. It's definitely within reach. It's a district that's within reach for us. Because it's the same candidate is running again, and he's the nominee once again. He may or may not win, but we'll have to wait and see. So let's continue. I checked the state legislature. I did not see anything important happen in the state legislature. Not really any. I did not see too many incumbents, or really any incumbents, lose for that matter. I don't know what's going through Michigan voters' mind, but they are definitely more plugged into the establishment than they are into actual true conservatives. And we need to fix that. One representative went down in the 50th, though. Wilford is the more conservative. I'll look through all the endorsements. I didn't have much time to analyze these and figure out who we lost and who wasn't. And Green, I don't know who would vote for that person, considering it sounds like Marjorie Taylor Greene, but in reality it's not. Anyways, now we're going to get into Missouri, which is where it starts to shift a little bit around. We're going to cover the bad first, and then we're going to go to the good. The bad news, Mike Kehoe, the big rhino, he won, and he won handily. He won by about 6.8 points. I expect, polls were showing that Oshkoff was in the lead. I did not support Oshkoff. I supported Eigel because I've heard of internal polling having it between Kehoe and Eigel, and if Oshkoff wasn't painting what he's been painting for forever, Eigel would probably be the nominee at this moment. And if you live in Missouri, I would not vote for Kehoe. Just write in Bill Eigel, because Kehoe's going to win no matter what. It's a Republican plus 15 state. I know Trump endorsed Kehoe, and I am not going to give him my endorsement because he's just that bad. But if you look, here's the breakdown of the counties. You can see exactly where Eigel did well and where Oshkoff only won Greene County, and that's where Springfield is, with Eigel coming in third place. we filter by this, you can see Eigel did pretty well in some of the more conservative counties. In Canton County, that's, I think, the most based county in the entire state. I can't even find it in the list, but St. Louis County, that was what dictated that he was going to win. Mike Kehoe won that pretty handily. I was watching these results come in last night with a few people in a Twitter space. We were just analyzing what was going on. It was kind of a shocker. Now we're going to get into the good news, and that is the lieutenant governor's race. And it looks like they're still counting ballots here. Great. But it doesn't seem like the margin is going anywhere as of right now. However, Lincoln House, the big rhino, lost in flames. Or I shouldn't say in flames, but he went down. Lincoln Haug got outspent all of the other opponents by a wide margin for him to lose to David Wazinger, who's an America First candidate, by 1.1 percentage points. So a very small margin. Andrew Bailey, he won. I wasn't really surprised about that one. I supported Scharf, or however you pronounce his last name, Will Scharf. I thought he was the more conservative candidate, but Bailey's been pretty good, so I'm not really going to go on all about it. Now, here's where we get into something juicy. Cori Bush, a squad member Democrat, went down in flames. When I was watching the results come in last night, the early dumps came in strongly for Bell, and then Cori Bush slowly crept up on her. So Cori Bush definitely did better in the election day dumps, which is important. If you want to win, you have to win, and you have to do it by winning the early vote. That was honestly a very good result right there. I'm just glad that the squad is just going to keep getting smaller and smaller. In 2026, we got to target AOC, and that's going to be great. And now the 3rd district. This is another one I want to get onto here. Bob Onder, he won, and he won big. He won by 10 points. Now, depending on what you call a big margin, I consider 10 points to be kind of a large vote share. And Kurt Schaefer was outspending Onder by a ridiculous amount, putting up all these ads. I'm not even in Missouri, and I've been getting ads for Schaefer, and he was definitely sounding like a panicked frog, if I'm being totally honest, in his ads. They were not very good. But it was definitely enough to sway Democrats in the Columbia outskirts to vote for him. So that's indeed what happened. But as the results were coming in, I was looking at these results, and I was expecting Under to do a little bit better in Gasconade, possibly win that. But he won Monty. He won a lot of the eastern counties, while the Rhino won more of the western counties in the district. I guess because Columbia is more of a establishmentarian area. Mainly there's a college there. It's a college town, a lot of white working Democrats that crossed over. Because another reason I suspect that the results were not nearly as good is because Democrats voted in the Republican primary. And that's something we need to stop. We need to stop Democrats from meddling in our primaries and interfering with who wins. But last night, we did have some big victories in the state legislature. A lot of the very conservative candidates, most notably in HD 64, won. A lot of these true conservatives won. I don't know what's going to hold up later on, but there's definitely more and more of these proper. We're definitely getting more. 123 Vernetti, the conservative challenger, won against Thomas, which was the establishment hack. So we definitely had a lot of W's in the legislature, but not like many W's. We didn't have nearly as many W's in the state Senate, but we still had a couple. Henderson won. Turner lost, which was kind of upsetting. He lost by 4. I was hoping that he would have won and pulled through somehow. Hudson also won, which was great. So the Missouri Freedom Caucus is getting larger, and it just proves we're really cleaning house in these state legislatures, which is going to be really important because we'll be able to push some of these people up to the federal level at some point down the stretch. That's going to be real big. So the 2 ballot measures, I've got really no idea what these were for, but I definitely thought no was the right answer. That was definitely very strange in terms of money for the state. And the police funding, I support any money for the police to do what they want to do. I do not support the defund the police. Anyways, Secretary of State Denny Hoskins pulled through, and Valentina Gomez, who's that weird actor on Twitter that you might have seen out there, she got third to last. 7.4% of the vote. Denny Hoskins won. Hoskins was the right person for the job. Hoskins even won St. Louis County. He won St. Louis City. He did very well last night. I was not surprised at all by this result. Polling had Hoskins ahead, and I didn't know whether or not to believe it because polling is pretty crappy sometimes. However, that was I think the biggest W of the night was Hoskins winning. We're going to get a big upgrade over Jay Oshcroft, who is one of the worst Secretary of States in the entire country. The treasurer, that wasn't really all that important. Yeah, we're going to now take a look at what I consider the final state where we actually had a bunch of W's. And yes, Washington. Yeah, they're still counting ballots. I don't know where this is going to go, but we definitely have enough data to predict where this is going to go. First of all, the U.S. Senate race, not really a surprise. The Democrat's going to win that in November very easily. The Republican has no chance to win that. The governor race, this is where it gets interesting. Bob Ferguson, who's the current Attorney General of the state of Washington, he could not secure 50% of the vote in a D+20 state, which possibly opens up the door for Reichert to come in and be the nominee and win this November. There's a real possibility of that. Do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely not. But do I think it's out of the question and it could happen? Yeah, I think it could happen, but I'm also not going to bet my money on it. I don't think it will flip. The Lieutenant Governor Republican has not been called yet, but looks like Dan Matthews is going to win that pretty easily. And the Attorney General race, this is one that caught my eye. The Republicans are outperforming the Democrats by about 6 points. And that was not expected either. So a rather solid night in Washington. And another thing is, I'm hoping this race has not yet been called yet. It looks like they haven't tabulated any votes since this morning. Late this morning. But my hope is that we can maybe get Smiley in second place. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Newhouse is in second place. But if that's correct, Sessler will be the favorite to win in November. Unless Democrats just delusionally cross over and vote for him, which I expect will happen in November. I hope it doesn't, but we'll have to wait and see. This is why I don't like the jungle primaries, because it's really hard to go in and target somebody at, or these blanket primaries, where you have to go in and kind of target them at like an angle. And Newhouse is one of the impeachment 10 that voted to impeach Trump. So I'm glad if he loses this November, that'll be a massive upgrade. Sessler will join the Freedom Caucus. He's been endorsed by the Freedom Caucus. So that's a very good thing. And Trump really needs to stop with these dual endorsements. He did not dual endorse anybody in Washington except for Smiley and Sessler, probably so that way he could try to box Sessler out, to box Newhouse out, which I'm glad he tried to do that, but Newhouse got second, and yeah. But anyway, 3rd District, Joe Kent, he won. I wasn't surprised one bit about this result whatsoever, and if you take the Republican vote totals and add them up and put them on Kent, you actually win. I definitely think Kent will win this November, because I've seen polling out of this district with Trump up by like 4 or 5. I know they redistricted the 3rd to make it less favorable. However, if Trump's winning the district by 5, it should be enough to carry Kent over the finish line, get him to Washington, where he definitely belongs. But anyways, aside from that, there isn't really anything else to cover here, so thank you so much for watching. If you are new around here, please make sure to like and subscribe down below, and enjoy the rest of your day.